Today, I'm going to show you how you can use YouTube to generate both buyer and seller leads without spending a single dollar on ads. Now, I'm going to walk you through a 3-part framework that we've used hundreds of times, which is attention, connection, and conversion. And when you put all 3 of these together, it turns YouTube into a client-generating machine. Now, most agents have a pretty basic understanding of YouTube, right? We know that there's buyers and sellers who go onto YouTube and they'll look up certain questions, things like homes for sale or best places to live or best neighborhoods or what it's like to move somewhere. Like, they have all these questions that they'll go and they'll type into YouTube, the same way that you might type in if you have a broken car or you need to help fix something on your computer, right? You go into YouTube, you type out a question. Home buyers and home sellers do the exact same thing. And if we can get our videos to pop up and someone clicks on it, well, that gives us an opportunity to build a relationship and ultimately tell them that we're real estate agents and that they can work with us. Now, the problem is that a lot of agents don't understand how to execute a good YouTube strategy. We're talking, what is the best content to make? How do we create content that aligns and brings in the right audience instead of just random people? How do we actually scale and grow a successful channel to bring in a bunch of business, right? These are all things that you need to have strategy in order to implement. And there's unfortunately a big lie that's been told in this space, which is that if you just keep creating more content, your channel is going to grow. And so if you just keep going for 8 months, for 10 months, for a year, eventually you will start just exploding in your growth. And that is not true. And so that's why you're going to see a lot of agents who just create a lot of different content because they don't have a clear purpose in what they're creating. And I'm going to help you hone in on that because there is so much opportunity on YouTube. If you do it right, you can see 10, 20, 30 transactions every single year from this one platform. And that's on the low end. I mean, I know agents doing more than 60 or 70 transactions a year without spending a single dollar on ads. So let's go ahead and let's dive in. So let's start with the first pillar, which is attraction, which is all about how do we get new people to watch our content? How do we get buyers and sellers to watch our videos and ultimately turn into clients? And the first part of this pillar is all about your branding. You know, what you brand your content as, how you brand yourself is the type of business that you're going to attract. And it's what's going to set you apart from other agents online. Now, I've worked with lots of agents one-on-one. I've worked, coached hundreds of agents. And unfortunately, 99% of agents online all look identical. Okay, if you've seen it on Instagram, if you've seen it on YouTube, if you've seen it on Facebook, they all post the same stuff. And so I'd encourage you, with your branding, try to be a little bit different. So here's a couple things that you can do to stand apart. Number one is I would get a professional headshot done, not a basic headshot, something that's professional, looks great, that's high quality, that makes you look like a competent agent. Don't just take a selfie photo and slap it up there. This is your face, which is your moneymaker, which is going to be everywhere on thumbnails, your logo, your channel banner, everything. Get a really good headshot, something from the waist up that you can use, and then something that's maybe like a full body shot as well. If there's anybody else you're creating content with on the channel, you want to make sure they also have really, really great shots done of them. The second thing I would do is hone in on your colors. With YouTube, one of the things that we can do is select our colors that we can use for our banner, that we can use for text, that we can use for editing assets, for your end screen, for lots of things on the channel when we're creating content. This color that we're going to use can help you stand apart from other agents in the market. Now, the next part of branding I'd focus on is the way that your audience sees you, how you present yourself. So part of that category would be your clothing. If you are attracting a first-time home buying audience, maybe you can be a little more casual, right? T-shirt, jeans, keep it a little chill. But if you are focusing on more of a luxury market where you're looking for home buyers, home sellers in the $1 million, $2 million plus range, you probably don't want to go for a more casual look. You probably want to be dressed up in a blazer and whatnot. And the same thing goes for equipment, right? If you're focused on more of a medium price audience or first-time homebuyer audience, you may not have to use some super fancy equipment. You can get by with an iPhone, a GoPro, shoot content yourself. And again, if you are focused on a luxury market, maybe it's best if you hire a videographer and you have really, really good shots and multiple shots and drone footage and all the fancy stuff. Branding is super important. It's what's going to help you connect with your audience. Probably more than anything, the first step is your branding, how you present yourself, the colors that you have, the editing that you're doing, the equipment that you're using. I mean, just how anyone perceives you, because when someone clicks on your video, first like 10, 15 seconds, they're already judging you. They're already making their own opinions on the content that you're creating. And so we really want to make sure that it aligns with the people that we're trying to attract. That's step one. Now, the second part of this pillar is to start posting content. Now, this is where it's a little bit tricky, and I'm going to try to focus a little bit more in this category to help you decide on what is best. And that's the strategy to use. Okay, when we're creating content and posting content, we need to have the strategy that we're using in mind, because because that is going to in turn give us the audience that we are going to work with, right? Whether it's buyers, whether it's sellers, whether it's first-time home buyers or relocation audience or whatever it is, right? So we want to make sure that we're dialed in on the strategy. So here are the 4 strategies that we recommend that you can use to grow a channel so that you can decide which one's going to be best for you if you're trying to build, your YouTube channel up. Now, the first strategy we're going to talk about is the living in strategy. I'm going to hop on over to the computer because I want to show you a couple things, but the living in strategy is pretty simple. The goal of the living in strategy is to create content around the area that you live, right? So a city that you live in, there's neighborhoods that you're going to tour, there's communities, there's suburbs that you can visit, all those things. You want to be showing people what it's like to live in your area, which is why it's called the living in strategy. Show everything around what it's like to live where you're at. The reason that this works so well is because there's people who are, let's say, moving, whether it's for relocation, for job, divorce, just want a different pace of life, you name it. They're moving to different locations, and a lot of times they're going to look up information about the place they're moving to. A lot of people go onto Google, but a lot of people also go onto YouTube. They want to watch videos about where are the best places to live, what's it like to live in a certain area, what's the cost of living, what are the jobs available. I mean, all these questions that they might have. So here in YouTube, if I just go and type in living in Atlanta, you'll see a bunch of these things pop up. Living in Atlanta, Georgia, 2024, vlog, pros and cons versus Houston, suburbs, Georgia, pros and cons without a car. I mean, there's tons of different phrases and keywords that will pop up. And our goal is that whenever someone searches this content up, for us in our video to pop up. So for example, living in Atlanta, Georgia, if I go ahead and click on this, you'll see that there are some channels that are already doing this. For example, Living in Atlanta has a channel where he's now creating living in content. Why I hate living in Atlanta, living in Sandy Springs, top 10 Atlanta home buying tips, discover your dream Atlanta neighborhood. This is all living in style content where he's just consistently creating content about Atlanta, what it's like, questions people have, suburbs around the area. And this is what he's hoping. He's hoping that his videos rank, people watch his videos, and they reach out to him because they're moving, right? So this is the whole fundamental idea of the living in strategy. But to contrary belief, this is not the only strategy. Now, before I move on to the other strategies, I will say this is really good for relocation, especially in a market where there's a lot of growth, right? So if there's a lot of growth and a lot of people are moving in, this is a fantastic strategy to use because there's a lot of people actually moving. So one of the tips I would give you is look at your market. If your city is not growing 2-3% year over year, I'd be a little bit cautious about doing this strategy. A lot of agents go ahead and think if they just create content about what it's like to live in the area, but their city's not growing, you're not going to get a relocation audience because people are not moving there. Okay, so keep in mind, we have to think about that. So again, Atlanta, massive city, tons of people moving, grows year over year. So this is a fantastic strategy. Big markets, this works really well in. And then medium-sized markets, this also works really well in. So just make sure you know your own market. Now let me give you a couple ideas that you can use if you're going to do the living in strategy. So let's come over here to our content doc. I've got some titles here, the type of video, we've got outlier rank, how well it's going to perform, research documents with like examples of it. But let's just break down a couple of these. So locals reveal what it's really like to live in city state, asking locals what they hate about city state, top 15 things you must know before moving to city state, avoid moving to city state unless you can handle these 10 facts, living in city state, everything you need to know, why everyone is leaving city state, don't move to city state unless you can handle these 15 facts, cost of living in city state in 2024, is it still affordable, city state versus city state versus city state versus city state, which city is best for you. Obviously you would insert the city and the state that you work in, but these are fantastic titles that you could use right off the bat. If you want access to this document, by the way, comment the word master doc down below. I will send you a link where you could purchase it. It's really affordable. We have over 100 of our best performing titles, scripts, outlines for all of these videos that you can use right off the bat. So it's about 2 years worth of content if you make a video once a week. So comment that down below and I'll send it over to you. Now the next strategy that we have is the property tour strategy. And let's go ahead and look up living in Houston. Now this one is a little bit confusing. His channel is titled Living in Houston because he used to do living in Houston content, and he has since over the last almost year been doing property tours. I'm going to show you a couple different examples of how you can do property tours because this is targeted in some different ways. The channel that we're looking at right now, Living in Houston, Texas, which does new construction tours, is mainly focused on buyers still. Okay, so you can go 2 different ways with this. He's showing the most affordable places that look great on camera. They have really good curbside shots. He's trying to find the little pockets of new construction that people are just going to love. And he's creating these 30, 40, 50 minutes videos vlogging the whole entire community, what it's like to live there, and he's attracting buyers in this way. So this is a way that you can do the property strategy and attract buyers. Now, we also have Brad McCallum. He's got 50,000 subscribers, and his videos got 6,000, 5,000, 3,000. You know, he's doing super high-end production on these, and he's going in and touring these homes with a videographer, really great editing. I mean, they're just going above and beyond, awesome color grading, sound effects, you name it. They're creating some really, really awesome property tours. Now, what I will say with this and the property strategy specifically, what you need to know is that this is not necessarily intended to just get business from YouTube. Yes, people will look at these videos and go, wow, and someone might actually be interested in purchasing this property. But really what they're doing here is they're trying to show how skilled and competent they are as an agent and distribute this across so many other places. So the property strategy is not YouTube specific. I need to make that very clear, because a lot of agents think, hey, I'm just going to come and show all these multi-million-dollar homes and all of a sudden I'm going to get a ton of sellers. That's not actually the case, right? If we're touring $3 million homes, $2 million homes, and we're doing that every single week, we can put this out on Instagram, on our website. We can send a newsletter out to our database. We can put this on YouTube. We can use this when we're at a listing presentation to say, hey, look, this is what we do for our clients. And that's a great way to get a higher conversion rate. I mean, there's so many other benefits with this strategy than just, hey, we're going to get sellers on YouTube. You can run ads for these properties on Facebook. You can download the raw footage, upload it, run an ad. I mean, there's, like I said, so many things that you can do. So I really want you to keep that in mind when you're doing the strategy, because it stretches so much further than just YouTube. And just a side note, Brad McCallum went from doing 20 million in yearly sales volume to over 100 million because of what he did. It took him 2 years to do it, but he just consistently put out property after property after property. And so many people saw that and they're like, oh my gosh, this guy must be really, really good at what he does. And then sellers started reaching out to him because they wanted the same type of marketing on their property. So yeah, there's a ton of things that come out of this. Or we can do it in this way, right? We're doing some really high level thumbnails. We just posted this one, you know, a day ago, it's almost at 1,000, 4,000, 3,000, 11,000. I mean, we're pretty much on par with Brad McCallum's channel, and he's got 50,000 subscribers and we have 1,000. So we're actually crushing it here for Anthony, and he's gotten really awesome opportunities with $3 million, $4 million, $5 million buyers up in Colorado. So he's killing it. We're super excited to see his channel grow. But you can see he's actually doing it here without a full production crew. So he does have a videographer help him out, and he does fly a drone himself. So he's kind of like a one-man show. He has someone kind of hold the camera for him, but we're doing a lot of this in post-production, the editing of it, showing the property, you know, piecing all this together. So you don't need to have super high-end stuff to get this done. But I will say one side note with these property tours is the way this works is you need to tour nice properties. You need to make them look really good. Okay, that's the whole point. If you're not going to make the properties look good, it's going to be really hard to run a strategy like this, because you're trying to get an audience to watch, you know, a home that's, again, 300,000 or 400,000 and it's shot on an iPhone. So unless it's super affordable and new construction looks banger for the price, or it's these really high-end properties, I wouldn't go anywhere else in between that, kind of sticking into one of those lanes. Now, another thing I'll mention about these property tours is the thumbnail is so important. Okay, this is not something I'd recommend if you're going to do a property strategy, designing these on your own, because these need to be next level, designed in Photoshop, hours on them. Because if you just look at our thumbnails, let me show you kind of a before and after. So this would be like, let's do this one right here, right? This $8 million property. And this is like the before, right, of what we're getting for footage, and we're turning it into this, okay? So yeah, if you've ever seen these videos on like your homepage, like there's a lot of effort that goes into these thumbnails with the lighting and the color grading and making sure everything looks smooth. So keep that in mind. The thumbnails are a little bit more higher level if you want to go down that route. Now, the third strategy that you can use is the market update strategy. Now, traditionally, this is a very boring strategy, okay? If you've ever seen a market update, typically it's just numbers, data. Those don't work on YouTube, okay? We want to do something a little bit different if we're going to make this work on YouTube. So I'm going to show you two examples here. So let's hop on over to the computer again. Chamberlain Real Estate Group, which is up in Calgary. Great channel to model if you're looking to do something like this. Again, this targets mainly buyers, but it's also going to target more of a local audience. So you can get some sellers from this where you're just talking about the data, what it means. These are really great for emailing out as well. If you can do a high level version of this and post it on YouTube, but also email it out to your database. There's a lot of cool things you can do with this strategy. But yeah, so basically what traditionally what would happen is someone would be like, you know, August, you know, market update 2024, right? So he's got his video here, Calgary Real Estate Market Update, October 2024. Now, if we come into this video, let's just go ahead and watch the first few seconds of this video.
So we are now in a balanced market. The Calgary real estate market has shifted, and we are now seeing a balanced market in the data. We have been in a seller's market for a very long time, There's many of you who are in the market or just observing the market saying there's no way we should be in a buyer's market just the way that I see it. Well, we're not. Not every place is in a buyer's market. There are some, but overall, across the whole city, we're sitting at 2.53 months of inventory, I believe it is, and we are at a balanced market. So today we're talking about the stats, we're talking about what's happened in September 2024, and what is going to happen potentially in the coming months in our market here in Calgary. My name is Jared, and I run a real estate team here in Calgary. I've been an agent for 2 decades, and our team has been around for a very long time, helping many, many families transition well to the next property. So
you can see here that they're creating a market update, but they're making it way more entertaining. Now, he goes on and he tells stories in his market updates. He explains the data. He just does a really good job at it, but he's been able to create a solid audience in his market just from doing these consistently. Now, he does have some other local content as well. So he does mix in the market update strategy plus the local living in strategy quite a bit. But here's a channel that actually doesn't do that, and he pretty much does the same thing over and over and over again. It's another way of doing what I call the market update strategy. So let's look here at a channel in Las Vegas titled Las Vegas Living, run by, I believe his name is Jesse Abbott. But let's just go ahead and look at his videos here, where he does the same format every single week, where it's a title, it's him with a property behind him, and some kind of really bold text like terrifying news, prison, bloodbath, new scam. And he is consistently getting 20, 30, 40,000 views on every single video. And what he's doing for his market updates is he's acting almost like a news anchor for the city. And he's pulling up shots from, famous public people who are talking about the economy. So economists, he'll pull up news articles about Las Vegas. He'll pull up a certain stat or a certain video on the news of someone talking about how the housing is going up or going down. And then he reports on that with his own input every single week. And again, this is another way of doing the market update strategy without only relying on market update type of data, right? He's leveraging things that people are saying. He's leveraging articles and all that good stuff to tie it all in. And he's consistently been able to pump out a video a week and absolutely crush it. So again, this is a different type of strategy that's going to bring in a completely different audience. So you always have to be looking at what is best for you and what is your personality. What do you want to do? What's easiest for you? So this is another strategy. Now let's go into the next one. Now this next strategy is what I call general real estate content. This is not something I typically recommend out unless you want to refer business to other people. So what I mean by that is everything we just looked at, from the living in strategy to the property strategy to the market update strategy, everything that all 3 of those have one thing in common, and it's tied to location. So if people search something up and they search in the location, our content is still tied to that, meaning we can still get local business from it. Whereas when we do the general real estate content strategy, we are not tying down to a location. We are opening up the content that we're creating to a much wider audience. So instead of saying something like 5 best places to live in Atlanta, we might say 5 best places to live in the United States, which again increases their audience a whole ton. This is where we can get hundreds of thousands or millions of views, but that means we're not going to get localized business. So there is a kind of pros and cons there. You have to weigh the odds. You have to weigh out what's best for you. So for example, Jackie Baker is a fantastic example of this, where if you look at her content, never say this to your real estate agent when buying a home. The broken housing market can't be fixed. Never buy a flipped home. Home upgrades people regret after moving in, right? This content all looks great. She's got a ton of views, crushing it, but she's not doing localized business. Her whole funnel is there's a link in her bio, which people can click. When they click that, it goes to a referral page and people can fill out their information and it will refer that business out. So again, keep in mind, there's different strategies depending on how you want to grow. And this one, yeah, you're not going to be doing any local business. So now that we have a good understanding about the strategies that we can use to grow on YouTube, let's talk a little bit about how we can actually get views. Like, where are the people coming from? Let's get a little bit of a deeper understanding into our audience and how we can be growing on YouTube. So let's talk a little bit about that. Now I'm going to come here by clicking the YouTube icon, which is going to put me on the home page. Now all the videos that you see here, there's always videos that pop up on the home page. You could scroll down. There's tons and tons and tons of content. Now the content that's on the home page, whenever I click on one of these videos here, it's going to count for that video as what we call a browse view. Now a browse view is not a bad thing, but it's not necessarily the best views that we can get. I'm going to tell you what's a little bit better. But the browse views are a great way to build an expand into a new audience, people that don't yet know you or are not yet actively searching for your type of content. Another thing that's also good about browse views is it can show to people that have recently searched other videos or other content from similar creators. So let's say you're doing the living in strategy and you're talking about the 5 best places to live in Atlanta, Georgia. Let's say a lead just watched the 5, most expensive places to live, or the 5 worst places to live, or what's it like to live in Atlanta, Georgia, and your video gets made. YouTube might actually put that on the homepage and recommend it out to that person because they might align or be a similar audience to what you're creating. So it is a great way for you to actually bring and branch into a new audience. As long as that audience clicks on it and people keep clicking on it, YouTube's going to keep pushing that out on browse into more and more people's homepage. It's a great way to actually build an audience, and it's also a great way to also get leads. Now, the second way that we can actually get views is by search. And this is really where a lot of people like to focus. And that's why the living in strategy is so powerful. So for example, if I say top 5 places to live in Atlanta, it's going to pop up a video for me. The first video that pops up here is this video, and then this is the second video. So if I'm looking for the top 5 places to live in Atlanta, odds are I'm probably pretty interested in making some type of purchasing decision, whether that's now or 3 to 6, 12 months out. And so people are really competing for these search phrases, and they're trying to get their videos to rank. Okay, and so that's another way that we can get views, which is higher intent views. People that are actively searching for something is by popping up here in search. Now, the next place that we can pop up is suggested. Now, if we scroll down here under the video, you'll see there's a bunch of other videos that pop up. And these are what we call suggested videos. So YouTube's going to take content, and it's going to suggest it that you might want to watch that is either similar or just content that you like. So for example, her video that she made 2 days ago is now here at the top. They're suggesting, hey, if we like her video, then we might like her other video as well. Now, there's also things like politics. There's also other content here that I might be interested in as a user, but there's also other creators that, 15 reasons why I love living in Atlanta. And so what we can do is, as we create content, our content is going to get suggested underneath other videos, and that's a great place for us to also get views. And then the last place we have is external. So if I go and I type in living, let's actually just search this title, top 5 wealthiest neighborhoods. And if I search this, let's see if I scroll down, all of a sudden, boom, we've got videos right here. And so this is what we would consider external views. So they're not directly on YouTube, they're coming off of a different platform or somewhere else. And so you might see external views if you share this on your Facebook page, your video. You might see it if you send it out to your database, or if you get views on Google. And just recently we had a video that had over 4,000 views in 2 days, and it all came from Google external, which was pretty interesting. That's a little bit hard to play for, that if it's usually ranking for that phrase. For example, this video, if it's usually ranking on YouTube, it's most likely ranking on Google as well. So that's just kind of a thought there. And Google is a great place to get high intent search leads as well. Now, the 2 main places that we're going to focus on getting views from obviously is search, because we get high intent leads from there, and also browse, because it's going to bring in a new audience. And so the question now comes, how are we going to get people to click on our video, right? That's the first step of this whole entire process. We've got our branding down, we've got our strategy down, we know where views come from. How are we going to get people to click on our video versus other people's videos? How are we going to show up in search? How are we going to get clicks from browse views? One of the most important things that you need to do is make sure that your video is well packaged. Now, packaging basically means the way it's presented to the audience. And the packaging focuses on the title and it focuses on the thumbnail. So for example, if we just analyze this video right here, it says top 5 wealthiest neighborhoods in Atlanta, Georgia, 2024. What we want to know is that title interesting enough? Do people want to watch that content? Do people want to click on that, a title like that? And then if we look at the thumbnail, it's just really nice looking house. She has 5 with her hand, and it's straight to the point. Atlanta, Georgia, wealthiest neighborhoods, right? It's pretty standard. She's not really doing anything wrong. Could it be designed better? Probably. But is there anything really wrong with it? No. We would say the packaging on this is pretty good, right? It's got a good title, got a good thumbnail. It aligns with what she's trying to share, and people want to click and watch on it. And because of the good packaging it has, people are clicking on this video over and over and over again, and YouTube is pushing it out. Now, let me give you an example of good versus bad packaging, just so you can kind of visually get an understanding of what I'm talking about. So this is a video I saw made the other day. If we look here on the right, the title is "One Factor Will Make or Break the Atlanta Real Estate Market, Atlanta Housing," I think it says says update or market update or something like that. And then on the left, we have market breaking points, the Atlanta real estate market, October 2024. And we can see here that the city is in dark. It's really hard to see its background. There's a lot of text going on. There's kind of a lot of moving pieces. The title is like, okay, I wouldn't say it's a terrible title, but it's not like super attractive to me. Versus if I compare it to a video like this, which is the title says Atlanta's housing market is crashing. A bold statement, a lot more interesting. If we look here at the left, we can see it says Atlanta number, price cut 95K, and there's an arrow pointing at it. It's just much more clear. It's better packaged, right, as a title and thumbnail together to make someone want to click on it. And you can see this video here has 43,000 views 2 months ago, and this one has 200 views 5 days ago, right? And there's a big difference here, and reason why this one did really well and this one didn't. And the first thing is usually the packaging. That's the first thing I always recommend fixing. So let me give you a couple other examples on how you could do this. So let's say the title of your video was a market update. I've seen agents where they titled it Living in Atlanta, Housing Market Trends and Data Report, right? Pretty boring. Nothing really gets me to want to watch it. Think of your viewer. They have 20, 30 minutes, maybe an hour to spend on YouTube, and they've got a bunch of options to click on. They're going to want to watch that or, Atlanta's housing market's crashing. And we could change this to, is it a good or bad time to buy a home in Atlanta, Georgia, right? That might be something we do. Or for example, let's say you're creating a video about a new community, a new neighborhood community in Atlanta vlog. Instead of saying that, maybe you want to say the #1 most underrated neighborhood in Atlanta, hidden gem, right? So it's a lot more interesting when you think about the way that you want to put this title together. And then based on the title, you can think about how you can want to put that thumbnail in. And we will go over another video about thumbnails in the future. Just a quick rule of thumb, whenever you're creating a thumbnail, you want 3 core elements. So if you look here at the thumbnail at the top, yes, it's really just text, him in a background. So we could consider that 3, but there's just a lot of text, which means it's really hard to actually get a feel for this versus the one down here. We have Atlanta in the background, which is 1 element. We've got his facial expression, which is up and close, looks a little scared or worried. And then we've got this graph here that says price cut and the price there. So that would be considered 3 core elements that you can clearly see and they all connect together. That's really what we're looking for when it comes to creating a good packaging. The last thing I'll say on thumbnails and your packaging is good packaging can mean 50,000 views versus bad packaging could be 500 views. And a lot of agents like to design these thumbnails on a site like Canva, which is totally fine, right? If you're a good designer, actually a good designer, you can get away, especially if you're new and starting out on YouTube, to do these on Canva. But I will say, if you really want to be doing 20, 30, 40 plus transactions, get them professionally designed and go through multiple variations. You can split test thumbnails, you can split test titles, and you can see what actually is working best so that you can get a video that's going to perform as best as possible. Okay, so now that we've got awesome packaging, right? We've got our video out there and someone has now clicked on it. It's time to talk about script. Okay, script writing is something that overwhelms a lot of agents. I see agents that spend 5-6 hours on script writing sometimes. Then I see agents that go in and they'll spend 5 minutes and use ChatGPT. Now I will say, please don't use ChatGPT for your entire script. Don't go and get ChatGPT to write out word for word your entire script and then try to regurgitate it on camera because you're going to sound like a robot and it's not going to work. So please, if you're going to use ChatGPT, get it to design an outline for you. Okay, an outline for your script, meaning like overarching bullet points or things that you can talk about where you can come in and put your own input inside of that outline. Because at the end of the day, the content that you're creating is coming from you. You are the expert. ChatGPT is just pulling random information from Google and trying to put it into something. So please write your own experience, your own stories, things that only locals know, right? You're going to make the content so much better just by putting in your own kind of spin on the content. Now, if you are struggling with the script, let me give you some advice. When it comes to creating content, for the most part, for example, for the living strategy, it breaks down into kind of this base outline that you can follow. Number 1, you have a hook, right? You want to have a statement that aligns with your title and your thumbnail or your packaging. So for example, let's take this video, Why I Hate Living in Atlanta. We want it to match the packaging. The thumbnail is the honest truth. He's got a face like this, and then we've got the title, Why I Hate Living in Atlanta. So our hook would be something like, guys, I've lived in Atlanta for the last 5 years. I've got to tell you, there are some things that just really make me upset about Atlanta. And if you're moving here, there's some things you're going to definitely want to know about it before you make the decision on if this is the right place for you. That's an awesome hook. We know if someone's watching this, they either are local or they're thinking about moving or whatever, and we are giving them a good, strong hook. Okay, that's step 1. Next, we want to do a brief introduction. Hey guys, my name is Clayton, real estate agent here in Atlanta. And today we're going to be covering, like I said, things about Atlanta that I just don't like. I've lived here for a while and I've helped a lot of people move and buy, sell here. So let's go ahead and get into it. Right, just super simple, brief. Don't go and talk about your accolades. Don't say everything about you. Make it brief, 10 seconds. Okay, quick something about you. Let's get into the video. Then you want to go through your talking points. Okay, what are your talking points? What are the things you actually hate about Atlanta? Number 1, maybe it's the traffic. Okay, so have like an overarching bullet point, then break that down. What about the traffic? Why? Maybe share a story about when you got stuck in traffic when you're trying to get to work, or friends that you know about that got stuck in traffic, or talk about a specific road that's really bad during a specific time, or new things that they're doing to actually help alleviate the problem of the traffic, right? There's so many things you can drill into on that one talking point. Then go into number 2, which maybe is affordability, right? Home prices might be skyrocketing. It's not as affordable as it was a couple years ago. No one's building any more new homes, whatever the problem is. So you want to have a couple talking points and then sub points under them that you can talk freely about, like you know the area, you're an expert on it. Another thing I want to add to these talking points is what I call a soft CTA. So this is where you're kind of reminding people, hey, I am a real estate agent. Don't go and do a complete jump cut and be like, by the way, I'm a real estate agent. I can help you buy or sell. No, that doesn't work. Mention it kind of like casually. Oh yeah, like home prices were terrible. I remember when I was helping a client of ours get a house, a year ago, prices were like way lower. And now they're just so much higher. And it's, our clients are struggling with X, Y, and Z, or whatever you want to say, right? Just subtly kind of put that in there. Super subtle ways of doing that. Then go through the whole video, give value at the end. This is where we want to wrap it up with a statement. So overall, there are a lot of things I don't like about Atlanta, but the truth is I still live here because I love it, right? My family's here and I've just been here for so long, and there's a lot of things I have learned to like about the city. Boom. Okay, so that's your kind of overview endpoint. Then you want to put your call to action. And I understand that a lot of people that are watching this video are probably thinking about moving here as well. So if that's you and you need some help, I can show you some of the best places to move to. So if you're looking for help, go ahead and reach out. My information's down below. That's a really good way of doing your call to action. Give value, then ask. Then at the very end, we want to set up the next video. This is a second point of conversion that I'm happy with. So if someone doesn't reach out to me, the next thing I want them to do is watch more content so that it increases the chances of them actually reaching out to me. So this is where we actually introduce a new problem to the viewer. It doesn't have to be a problem necessarily. It can just be something else they'd be interested in. For example, let's say this is why I hate living in Atlanta. You could say, look, I know I just went over why I hate living in Atlanta, but there are some things that are awesome about the city. And so if you want to know the 15 best things about Atlanta and why you should actually move here, go ahead and click on this video. And this is where you point to your next video. Now, let's say we made a video about the most dangerous neighborhoods, for example. Avoid steering with that, by the way. At the end of the video, you could say something like, hey, look, those are the most dangerous places. But if you're really looking for something that is a lot more safe, and you have a family and you don't want to raise your kids in anything like this is a video you're going to have to check out because it's got the 5 safest neighborhoods right now that you can move to in 2025. That's a really great way of understanding what your video is about and what your audience might be thinking afterward or wanting afterward, and then presenting that to them. So that is my overall opinion on scripts. That is for the living in strategy. If you're doing the market update, it's pretty simple. You want to, have an overall opinion on what's happening with the market. You want to give data to back it up. You want to tell a story through the data. Hey, because of this data, this is what this means. This is what I'm worried about. This is who it's good for. This is who it's bad for. And then do the same thing at the end. Call to action, set up your next video. For the property strategies, this is a little bit different. You're really trying to sell and, have a big hook in the beginning. Hey guys, this is a property we're about to tour. It's got this, this, and this. I'm going to show it all to you at the end. So make sure you stick around, open the front door, go through the house, and you want to keep hooking people. So, hey guys, I know we just toured this room. We're about to tour that room. And in that room, there's something that's really crazy that I've never seen before. So just, wait, I'm going to show that to you. But first, let's check this out. So it's a constant re-hooking of the audience because we're doing one thing kind of continuously. And then again, call to action, set up the next video. Hopefully that helps you with getting a good idea for the scripting for all 3 of those videos. If you want access to anything like that, I will send you over a link to a script outline. So you can comment down below scripts. I will send you something. We have some free tools to help you out with that. Now let's talk a little bit about content schedule. Okay, I see a lot of agents who are asking, okay, how many times do I need to post content? Is this something that's going to take me all week to do 3 or 4 videos? No, there's people that will post 2 videos, 3 videos, 4 videos. And I'm like, how are you doing that? That is so much effort and time. What I want you to do is I want you to post 1 video a week. But what I want you to do is if you're going to post 1 video a week, I want you to make it really good. Now, YouTube is a little bit of a different platform compared to other places, right? If you're looking at mailers, if you're looking at cold calling, if you're looking at ads, all those other ways of getting business, it's just about increasing what you're doing. So more mailers, more cold calling, more ad spend. With YouTube specifically, it's about the quality, not the quantity. For example, I could go ahead and post 100 YouTube videos and they all get around 500 views, which means I'm going to total around 50,000 views. But if I spend a ton of time making one video really, 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 really good. Good scripting, good editing, good filming, great packaging. I put that together and my audience loves it. That one video could do 50,000 views on its own, 100,000, 150,000 views, because the better your content is, the more it's going to get pushed out. And so it's not really a game of doing more. So I see a lot of agents who are trying to create 2 videos a week saying, if I just keep going and keep going and keep going, I'm going to get to where I want to go faster. No, if you're creating more content, you want to be learning lessons faster. What this didn't work, this didn't work, this didn't work. And you want to be upgrading your content over and over and over again. That's the only reason you would want to post more, is if you need to learn quicker, how to get more comfortable on camera, how to learn editing better, how to learn how to edit faster, how to learn how to script write faster. Like, those are skills you're looking for more so than getting your videos to perform well. So I really want to make sure that's clear. Now for beginners, this should be super encouraging, because what I'm basically saying is YouTube doesn't discriminate, right? If you're a channel with 100 subscribers and you're competing against a channel that has 30,000 subscribers, it doesn't matter. As long as your content's good, YouTube's going to push it out. So again, beginners, this is an awesome thing. For experts and people that are already really good at the platform, that means you need to upgrade your level and keep doing that to maintain your spot at being top. But for beginners, this is awesome. We can just create the best content. And if we keep doing that consistently, we can win, even if we don't have 10, 20, 30,000 subscribers. Now, just because I'm telling you to create the best content, I don't want you to do all the bells and whistles if you're a beginner, because it's going to cause you to burn out. I've seen it over and over again. Yes, we want great content, but we don't want it at the cost of you giving up, right? We don't want it at the cost of you spending so much time into editing, filming, doing everything, and you post your video and it doesn't do well, and that burns you out. So if you're a beginner, my recommendation is just focus on getting better at one thing every video. Learn something from your video and keep doing it every single week, whether it's just your script writing, whether it's just the way you speak on camera, whether it's just your editing. Get better at one thing at a time instead of trying to do everything, because you, like I said, you're going to get burnt out and it's going to cause you to want to give up. And lastly, on good content, I'll say this is not about creating video sales letters for yourself, right? We're not trying to boost our ego. We're not trying to tell people how awesome we are and what we've done in our real estate career. What we're trying to do is give value to the people who are watching. And if we can give value, we can build a great relationship with the people who are spending 10, 15, 20 minutes watching our content week after week. That is where conversions take place. So whenever you're creating content, please think of your audience. The better you can align and connect with your audience, speak directly to them, give information that they're going to enjoy. This is where the power of YouTube actually comes in. Now that we know how to attract an audience, right? We've got that out of the way. It's time for the second pillar, which is really important. And this is where we're going to take that audience that we just got and we're actually going to nurture them. A couple ways that we're going to nurture our audience is simply just posting consistently. Now, again, a lot of people think you need to post the same time, same hour, same day of the week, every single week, or else you're not doing something right, which is not true. If you look at some of the biggest creators, they post every 2 weeks, every month, and they still have a massive channel. It's because they focus on creating the best content. Now, for us, we do want to still maintain like a weekly relationship. It doesn't need to be like 8 o'clock every single Monday, every week, but it can be, a couple hours off if you need to, but try to get in the habit of consistency. I do recommend having a schedule because it's going to help you stay on that schedule, versus if you don't have a schedule, it's a lot easier for you to fall off and end up not nurturing the audience. So we've already got this audience that's coming in, they're consuming our content. We want to keep nurturing them. And we want to do that because a lot of our leads are in the information process, right? They are now considering moving, they're now considering a search, they're now looking for information, they're now watching a content, they're just getting to know you. A good thing with the living in strategy is they don't know any other agents, right? So if they're watching your content, they're seeing 6, 7, 8 videos, who else are they going to work with besides you? Now with the property strategy and the market update strategy, we'd still need consistency because they need to get to know us, they need to get to like us. And so a lot of that content is just maintaining that relationship. So one of the easiest things you can do is just post weekly. Okay, that should be bare minimum if you want to nurture your audience. Another great way to engage with your audience is in the comment section, right? If you see a lot of people commenting on your videos saying, love the video, this is awesome. You'll see people ask a question. You want to do your best to engage with them quickly and use a framework. A framework I love to use is whenever someone leaves a comment, I like to acknowledge what they say, and then I like to ask a question. So, hey, thanks so much for watching the video. Are you local? Hey, thanks so much for watching the video. Are you thinking of moving? Hey, thanks so much for watching the video. What was your favorite part? Right? Just asking those questions helps create more engagement and build more of a relationship with that lead. Then you have people who will comment, say, I love the video and I'm thinking of moving, right? And so those are people you really want to comment on. You don't want to leave those people alone. So a good thing to do is just, again, acknowledge, hey, thanks so much for watching the video. That's awesome. I'd love to help you with that. Here is my phone number, my email. Reach out to me. I'd love to talk to you. You know, make sure you give them a direct call to action. I've seen people where you've got leads that are saying, hey, I'm actually thinking of moving with my wife in 6 months. And someone comments, hey, thanks so much. And that's all they're putting there. No, you need to push that lead into taking the next step with you. Now, the last thing that you can do to nurture your audience is actually going to be sharing your personal life with them. And because these leads are going to be watching multiple videos before taking the next step, there are going to be some that'll reach out on the first video or the second video, but most people will take, 6 to 8 videos. So we have the opportunity to share more of our life with them and for them to get to know us a little bit better. If we're creating a video about the 5 best places to live in Atlanta, for example, what we could do is say, hey, coming in the number 4th spot is so-and-so area, which I actually used to live there with my wife, a couple years ago.
My story with this city begins back in 2001. When my wife and I, newly married, we were looking to build our life. We wanted a future that was bigger with more opportunities.
You're just sharing parts of your story. Or maybe in one of the videos you say, hey, I moved here, 20 years ago when I didn't have this and, I wasn't sure about that. And the reason I moved here is because of this. Again, you're sharing your story. And the more that you do when you're creating this content, it's the bigger relationship you're going to build, and the nurturing is going to get a lot stronger. Because again, after 6 or 8 videos, think about it. You're making 20-minute videos. People have been consuming an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours of your content. They've spent so much time with you, right? It's like they've almost done 3 or 4 Zoom calls with you already at this point. And so they're just like all the way up here ready to convert. And those stories really help make them feel like they do know you a little bit better. Now, moving on to our third and final pillar, where everything gets tied together and we're actually going to get our reach outs. This is where we convert the audience. And the first thing that you want to do to convert your audience, I've already mentioned, but it's in the scripting. Okay. At the end of the video, you always want to include a call to action. You give value, then you convert. And so we always want to do, whenever we're talking about converting, we want to make it aligned with the content that they just watched. A lot of people will just say, hey, if you're thinking of buying or selling, give me a call, right? Which is not a bad call to action, but we want to be a little bit more specific with that. So for example, let's say we just made a video about the 5 most dangerous places to live in a certain city. Now, at the end of the video, for our call to action, we could say, hey, if you're thinking of buying or selling, make sure you give me a call. Or you can make it a little bit better by saying something like, hey, if you're thinking of moving and you don't want to move to one of these places with high crime or a little bit more dangerous, you want to move to something a little bit safer, a little bit nicer for you and your family, then all you got to do is, there's a link down below, schedule a call. I'd love to help you find that neighborhood for you and your family so you feel safe, you feel comfortable. So go ahead and reach out, and I'll talk to you soon, right? So that's going to align the video with the pain point that they're actually watching the video on, right? So it's actually going to give a solution by reaching out to you instead of just saying, hey, call me, text me. Another thing for conversions is those soft CTAs that I talked about, right? In your scripting, drop soft CTAs. I cannot stress that enough. I want to mention it again because it's just so important. Make it casual. If you're talking about something that has to do with real estate or something that you can share, where you could say, hey, by the way, if you need help, reach out to me, or, oh yeah, I can help you with that. If you need help, there's a link below. Where you can mention it and it makes sense organically, include those soft CTAs. The next thing you need to do is be clear with your call to actions. Don't have 15 different things for people to do. So for example, a relocation guide, a Zoom call, visit your website, call you, text you, email you. Don't mention all those things. Tell them exactly what you want them to do. If you're thinking of moving and you need some help, I want you to click the link below and schedule a Zoom call with me for this week. Or if you're thinking of moving and you need some help, you have some questions, there's my number on the screen. Call me at this number. Be very clear with what you want them to do so that they don't get overwhelmed with what to choose. I see it time and time again throughout the video. Someone's given like 6 or 7 call to actions and the person watching is like, I don't know which one to do. Tell them what's best for you and tell them to do it, where to do it, how to do it. That's what you should be doing for your call to actions. And lastly, for my newer agents out there, if someone reaches out to you, what I want you to do is get them on the phone, whether it's on Zoom or on a phone call, as soon as possible. Don't continue the conversation through text. Don't continue the conversation through email. Talk to them directly, because it's going to help increase your conversion rate. So if someone reaches out to you and they say, hey, Clayton, I love the video. Thanks so much. My wife and I are moving with our kids. We're 6 months out. This is what we're looking for. Then what you should say is, great, awesome. I'm so excited that your wife and you are moving. I'd love to help you with that. What works better? Is it weekdays or weekends for us to have a call? Like, push that conversation forward. Give them 2 options. They say, hey, Saturday. Awesome. Saturday works great. Is 9 a.m. best or is 3 p.m. in the afternoon better? Get them to go onto that call so that you can build a relationship. When you build that relationship, statistics show 70% of people work with the first agent they speak to. So we want to be that first agent. We want to be quick. We want to get them onto a call. Now, the final and bonus pillar for you is to stretch your content. What I want you to do when you're creating content on YouTube, doesn't matter what strategy you're using, you have the ability to repurpose this in so many other places. Okay, we're on YouTube. YouTube is awesome. It's got so much potential, but there's so much potential in other places as well that we can push it beyond just YouTube. For example, if you have content that you're creating, put it in a newsletter, put it on your website, send it to your database, text it to people who are considering working with you, use it for appointments. If you're on a listing appointment, you do the property strategy. If someone just reached out to you and they're saying, hey, I'm thinking of buying, send them a video about the best neighborhoods, put it on Facebook, run ads for it, chop it up into shorts. And that's the real benefit of starting with this long form content that is really well done, that's scripted, that's got great packaging. You can put it in other places. And that's why YouTube is so powerful. It's not just about what we're going to do from YouTube. Yes, are we going to close a bunch of deals from YouTube? You bet. But are we going to also get a ton of business from other places? You bet. Now, I know a lot of this is probably really overwhelming for you, but you can do it. And if you are looking for a little extra help, again, that's what we do. We help agents put together a plan for how to build and grow their YouTube channel. We're able to analyze your market, give you a clear path. So if you don't have a channel, we'll help you build that and set that up. Or if you have an existing channel, you're saying, look, I want to keep growing. I want to do more business than what I'm doing. We'll also help you create a plan for that. So if that's you, there is a link down below. I want you to click the link, schedule a call with my team and I. There's a little form you'll fill out, book in a call, and we'd love to get a chance to talk to you. I'll be there directly, get a chance to meet you. Now, if you like what I shared and you want to know more about YouTube, you want to keep learning, diving deeper, well, I did just release a massive video and it has 25 different tips for how to build a YouTube channel for agents. So all you got to do is you got to click right here to watch that, and I'll see you in the next video.